Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It's great to be with you today. As always, I am Boyd Matheson, and we are broadcasting live today from the Utah Valley Growth and Prosperity Summit. We're on campus at Utah Valley University. It's a great place to be today. And some really important conversations happening. If you've missed any of the program today, we've been talking to business leaders, education leaders, community leaders, and it's all about where are we? More importantly, where do we go next, and how do we create the kind of future that we actually want? We often talk about on this show, do something that makes a difference. And I think that's part of growth. I think that's part of prosperity. And no one understands that any better than Curtis Bennett, who's the executive director of the One Kind Act a Day. And Curtis, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
So for our listeners who haven't been up to speed and aren't in the middle of this yet, I'm going to say yet because everybody's going to be involved with this before we're done. Khosrow Simnani and the Simnani Foundation are part of this, but give us the backstory.
Thank you very much. I agree that thanks to the Simnani Family Foundation, Mr. Khosrow Simnani, and his vision during the height of 2020 when he felt that our humanity was being assaulted and there was so much contempt and anger and frustration about a lot of different things in the country, and we had riots and looting and all this sort of stuff. And so he decided that he wanted to do something about it. And I like that. I like somebody who just decides, I'm going to do something about this. And so he said, I'm going to start a foundation. We're going to call it One Kind Act a Day. And the hope is that we're going to be able to encourage people across the world, not just in Utah, but he's got a vision where across the world we can encourage people to be deliberate and perform at least a single act of kindness every day. And so we focus our attention on a lot of different arenas. It's a political arena, and some people say that's a fool's errand. And we focus on education, we focus on business, we focus on the religious. There's a lot of ideologies that clash at times, and we're seeing that in the world. And the hope is that it will permeate to the home. And however that home looks, if it's many people or one people, or how you see a home or how I see a home, that's what we hope.
It's such a powerful message, such an important thing, because we have in many instances, I think we end up with kind of the two extremes of we either have the polarization and all of the division, the contempt that you talked about, and the other end of that is equally dangerous and alarming to me is the indifference end of the equation, where none of it matters. And so I'm going to be just indifferent to my neighbor in need or the person that I interact with at my work. Talk to us a little bit about some of the ways that you're going about that as part of this One Act.
So we are striving to do everything that we can to build communities. Build a community that's committed to kindness. And whether that's in a particular city or it's in a school, or whether it's within a business. So when we talk to a business, they want to build their own culture. They want to build their own community. And so they come to us and they ask, what are some of the things that we can do to improve the culture of kindness within our own organization? There's a business or company that we're working with right now, and they've come to the clear understanding that in order for us to be better to our clients and to our vendors, we have to figure out how to be kinder to one another within the organization. So their first phase is let's work on us.
Love that.
And then we're going to go and work on our clients and our vendors. And then there is likely nothing more satisfying and truly satisfying for us as an organization than when we get to go into the schools and we get to help foster an initiative or a program that is dedicated towards kindness, because not only do we see students get clearly engaged, and they get engaged with all their heart, mind, and soul, but in addition to that, one of the immediate byproducts of a kindness initiative in a school is a reduction in bullying. And so in our opinion, if that's the only thing we accomplish, that's good enough.
It's so powerful, and so whether it's in a business or in a classroom, in a school setting, we always talk about around here that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and building that culture. So you talk about it inside an organization, that you've got to have that culture of kindness internally to your colleagues, to your vendors, to employees up and down the food chain, so to speak, inside the business. Tell me just a little bit more about some of the initiatives you're doing inside the schools, because I love that the natural byproduct is a reduction in bullying. It's that really flourishing and becoming part of a different kind of story.
True. So there are a lot of studies that show that kindness can do a lot of different things. It can reduce stress. It can reduce anxiety. It can help with depression. And there are even studies out there that say that a person who is kind is more attractive. Now, the studies are also very clear that when young people engage in acts of kindness, and they make them deliberate acts of kindness, then the likelihood of them lashing out or reaching out in a negative way towards another student, it reduces significantly. And so we never have any challenges, none whatsoever, in talking with schools and teachers and administrators when it comes to a kindness initiative, because they are quick to say, look, we know this is going to happen. And if we know that we can reduce bullying in this particular sort of way, there are a lot of things that are going to occur as well. We're going to create a culture where people feel safe. We're going to create a culture where parents feel that their children are safe. And we're also going to create a culture where I feel safe. And we're also going to create a culture where there's even greater learning. And so when a kindness initiative begins in a school, we love to have teachers, administrators, and counselors, and the students all fully engaged. And a lot of the schools have a value of kindness. And we're not talking about it day in, day out. We teach kindness. We're talking about an all-out initiative. Let's focus on this.
Let's do this.
Let's do this and make it work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. It's because it's helping all of us think about it more intentionally, deliberately. And it's amazing what happens when you do that. I've been doing a thing just this last week. I've invited people to scroll differently. And when they have a moment, rather than just scrolling through their social media, I've challenged everyone to just scroll through their contact list. And when a name pops up, just send that person a text. Doesn't matter if you saw them that morning or if you haven't seen them for 5 years. Just send them a text and say, I was thinking about you today. Your name popped up on my screen today. Hope you're doing well. And I'm telling you that the ripple effect and the rebound effect is just as it's probably even more powerful for the person who does it. And that's how you change the culture.
And that's exactly right. So, we get this impression or thought that, man, I need to call that individual, and I'm just going to do it. Or we decide that we're not going to do it, and then we find out it would have been a good idea. There's a story I heard just last week of a young man who got walked out of his house, and he said he was on his way to commit suicide. And this is, I hate to go to this route, but he said, if one person smiles at me, I won't do it. No one did. And he wrote in his note, if one person smiles. So just, and my point is that a smile, a phone call, a note, any kind of gesture that is overt, that's a single act of kindness that can have a huge ripple effect.
Give our listeners a quick idea of how they can become part of this one kind act a day.
So one of the things we encourage you to do is go to our website, thepowerofkind.org, and to take the kindness pledge. What we really want to do, as I said, is we want to build these communities of kindness, people who are committed to the whole concept of kindness. And so if you go to our website, you'll receive kindness prompts. And if you want to receive them, we'll send you a starter kit. We'll do any number of different things. But our job is to help you to see on a more continuous basis the resources that you need in order to be able to make this a deliberate act every day.
Nothing more important. And we're down here at Utah Valley University. We're talking about growth and prosperity. And I don't think there's anything more important or a single more important ingredient to growth and prosperity, real prosperity, than one kind act a day. And Curtis Bennett, thank you so much for joining us. And a big thanks to Khosrow Semnani and the Semnani Family Foundation. This is a great work, and it's one we can all be part of. We can all be part of today.
Absolutely.
And so get going. Curtis, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back. We're going to continue this conversation for
sure.
Thank you.
I hope so.
All right.